Live only on the Zone, August 16th, Moses Itauma, the next heavyweight superstar, faces his greatest challenge, Whyte, back to remind the world he's not done yet. Itauma versus Whyte. Click the link in the description to buy now.
This is Cooper Cassius for IFLTV. Delighted to be joined. It's been a while by the Haymaker himself, David Haye. What's happening, mate?
I'm not bad, mate. Not bad. Looking forward to talking to you.
Ah, great start.
As always.
Great start. Where you been? Not really seen you on
I've been about. Got some things cooking, so you'll see. You'll see. I'll give you a shout in a couple of weeks.
Okay, no,
and then the details.
Okay, I look forward to that. Yeah, look, let's just kind of start with a couple of days out now from a very intriguing fight. What's being billed as the young lion versus kind of the old lion, if you like, even though he's only 37 or 38, but that's how it's being billed. How do you see this fight playing out between Moses, who's 20 years old, and Whyte?
It solely depends on what version of Whyte turns up. Because if the version of Whyte that turned up in his last fight turns up, it could be a very early night. You know, he wasn't on his shots. He didn't. Nothing was flowing. But you know, look at the situation when Joseph Parker, for instance. You know, if that version of Whyte turns up against a guy who's never been in them type of battles before, and sparring doesn't count. You know, with them little 10-ounce gloves on under the lights with the pressure, when you get buzzed with that first shot and your legs are wobbling for the first time in a fight, you don't know how you're going to respond. Crowds go crazy. First time his experiences. We don't know how he reacts yet. And I think if anyone can ask him questions, real questions, it's Whyte. And you might ask him questions he don't know the answers to, because Dylan knows a lot. You know, all of those international kickboxing matches he had. He's like a world champion kickboxer before he started boxing. Professional kickboxer. He's been fighting forever. He's been fighting way longer than Itauma's been alive. And he's not. To judge Dylan on his last fight, you're mental, because there was no motivation for that. How much weeks' notice did he have? He just went. He was fighting someone he knew wasn't that much of a threat, so he just kind of went through the motions, just to get back in there after the Tyson Fury fight. This time round, plenty of notice. Look at his body. Just look at his body now. It's like someone's been looking at their food, nutrition. Someone's been doing their weight training. Someone's been really living their life, doing a hardcore training camp for a 21-year-old kid who hasn't actually beat anyone on the world scene yet, but has just shown amazing potential. Punch power, speed, accuracy, boxing IQ. He doesn't get caught with stupid shots. He lands his shots, takes his head out. So Dylan realizes what he's in there against. There's no secret how good Itauma is. You keep hearing these sparring rumors, all the big brand names that he's kicking their asses in the gym behind the closed doors. This is his time to do it under the lights, and he's picked a tough guy to do it against. Because if he isn't as good as he thinks he is, he'll find out pretty fast.
I'm in Saudi Arabia at the moment, and there hasn't really been any kind of beef or anything between Moses and Dillian. The talking points really this week have come from Dillian's pop at the media. I don't know if you've seen any of that. He's had a little thing with Barry Jones yesterday, and obviously Thomas tried.
I saw him calling the baby snatcher. The baby snatcher. I couldn't believe that. Dylan, the baby snatcher. Why? Oh my God! I couldn't stop laughing. But Dylan was right. He called him out. He called him out on it. You had to let him know. You can't just let that one slide. You got to let everyone know what's going on.
These are both Queensbury fighters, but I suppose Dylan does very much feel as the away fighter because of the
because of the age. Because of the age.
The age, but the narrative that's been put on Moses
Dylan is at the end of his career. No one's saying it's the start of his career now. No one's even thinking about saying that because it's not the truth. Itauma's at the start. He's right at the start. He's 21. He's a baby.
20. He's 20.
20s. You know, he's not even 21. Can't even get a beer in the USA. That's where we're at the moment. So how? Yeah, people need to understand that boxing is about conditioning. How much punishment can you take? Are you soft? We all know Dylan ain't soft. We all know, no one's saying in a minute that Dylan's soft. We don't know how hard Itauma is. We don't know how solid, how robust. We don't know. In sparring, I'm hearing he's super robust. He hasn't had to show it yet in a fight, and I think he's going to have to show it. And if it feels too uncomfortable for him, it won't work out. It didn't work out for me in my first fight. I wasn't tough enough in my first real battle to get through it. I folded. My body just, I gave everything I had and it wasn't enough. I miscalculated. This could be that same situation. Or Itauma could be rigid, he could be hard, he could be tough, he could be paying the price. And he could rise right to the occasion and take the licks and dish them back out. And because of his youth and his freshness, he wears down the old boy, the boy who isn't in his prime, but is in 12-round good condition.
Not long to find out. David, just a word on the other heavyweight fight, which is quite intriguing as well. David Adlay against Filip Hrgovic. That's an interesting fight, isn't it?
Very interesting. You know, you got the fact that Adam Booth, his coach, David's coach, has been in behind the closed doors with me sparring with Filip Hrgovic 13 years ago. So Adam really knows Filip. You know, he's known him from when he was in his prime. So if anyone can formulate a game plan, it'll be someone who really does know his heavyweights and knows what Filip's all about.
Interesting with Filip because obviously he was waiting for his shot at a world title for so long. He then suffered that loss to Daniel Dubois, and then which kind of set him back. But Hrgovic is still a serious force in this division, isn't he? Surely.
When he's in shape, when he's motivated, yes, he's a top 10 heavyweight, and he'll give everybody a good night's work, no matter who they are. And he's robust. He's an Olympian. He's solid. Great jab. You know, he's not a one punch knockout specialist, but he's got world class, you know, power. And yeah, you need to be on your game. You know how David fought his last fight. I wouldn't suggest he fights it this way. He needs to really tidy things up. He needs to keep it clean, use those legs, and not eat the jab from Hrgovic. So Hrgovic's got a very educated jab, and that's his main weapon, his jab. So if David could he needs to get away from that jab if he's to have a chance to win this fight. Trying to blast him out there really quickly, it's a bit of a long shot. He needs to break Filip down because Filip's super tough and he's got a great chin.
I still remember when Dillian Whyte called you out after your loss to Bellew, and your leg was hanging off. You couldn't walk, and Dillian was calling you out. Sorry, I did.
I was like, mate, you had the wrong side of the ring, mate. You calling guys just beat me out.
David, let me ask you about this potential situation here with Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul. I know you're a businessman as well as anything else. You obviously see why this fight is happening, or could happen, shall we say. But what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are we're living in that realm where anything can happen. You had Francis Ngannou fighting Tyson Fury. Why can't Jake Paul fight Anthony Joshua? And we all thought Ngannou was going to get completely battered, and somehow someone who's never had a professional boxing match all of a sudden puts down the reigning heavyweight champion, and in my opinion wins on points. So crazy things can happen. I'm not saying Jake Paul's going to beat Anthony Joshua, but I'm just saying things that on paper seem like a complete waste of time and you should dismiss. It doesn't always go that way. I think Jake may be biting off more than he could chew, picking Anthony Joshua. Of all the heavyweights to fight, AJ, it's a tough first heavyweight battle. You can't really count the Mike Tyson. You can't count the Mike Tyson one. Mike Tyson was pushing 60. So if you're going to fight a young man in his 30s, fresh, 6'5", shredded, super fit, lives the life, you might have a very difficult evening.
A lot of people have now been kind of addressing the danger element of this and how potentially dangerous this could be with Jake Paul wanting to do this if it happens. against someone like Joshua. It's not, I mean, what do you think?
Boxing's dangerous. He's a professional boxer. He's a professional boxer. He knows the risk. He understands it. We all know the risk. But this isn't the type of fight that Jake will get injured in. He'll just get knocked out. So it's not like he's going to take 12 rounds of beating. It's not that he just gets hit by AJ with little gloves on, and he'll never have experienced anything like it ever, and he just gets zapped. But if he wants to do that, you've got to respect it. God damn, no matter how much, forget about the money. The fact that he's putting someone who's probably worth billions is now putting his life on the line, getting in there to potentially get zapped by Andy Joshua in front of everyone. And if he's willing to do that, you've got to take it out to him. What a legend!
Yeah, I mean, yeah, on that front, yeah, absolutely. It's like that old question of, would you take a body shot off Haye for like 10 grand or so? But unless saying those fantasy kind of questions, he's actually living it, right?
Yeah.
He's living
If
it.
you said to him, if he'd have said to you at the beginning of his life what he was going to do when he was a teenager, you'd say you're mental. But hundreds and hundreds of millions, he's got such a massive reach. So he does some amazing things. So if he at some stage you're going to try and take it as far as it can go, and this is probably him just saying, if I've got a 1 in 1,000 chance, who else can put it off? If it ain't me, who else? Everyone else is a character in his game, in his mind, and that's it. AJ's is a character, and in his story of his life, he's gonna win that fight. If that's what he genuinely believes, I think he believes it, and I want to see it. I want to see it. Why wouldn't you want to see that?
Everyone will tune in to see it. There is also talk of Joshua facing Tony Yoka as well. We're trying to get a bit of clarity over that this weekend, what is going on with that as well. But we'll wait and see.
Yeah, I'd rather see the Jake Paul than Tony Yoka.
Yeah,
but it's two Olympic gold medalists. Like anyone, nobody really cares that much today anymore.
We'll wait and see. Do you think prime Haye would have beaten a prime Usyk? That cruiser first.
Yeah. There's a version of reality where I could have chinned him, but there's also a version of reality where he didn't let me chin him. But I think I'd have chinned him. But it'd have been hard for sure, or it could have been easy. I don't know, or I could get chinned myself. I don't know. I think there's a version where I could have beat him. I would have gone into it with full confidence. He's a super slick, super sharp. Him at cruiserweight was different to him at heavyweight. I'd have probably preferred to fight him at heavyweight. I think I'd have had a better chance at heavyweight than cruiserweight. But yeah, that's one of those fantasy fights that we'll never know. But I know if I land that right hand down the pipe, you know about it for sure.
What did you make of Dubois' loss? Obviously, it's been a while since then. A lot of aftermath. Dubois now linked up with Sam Jones, actually, which came out a few days ago. Yeah, what did you make of that loss to Usyk?
It's just a levels thing. It's like no matter what, they could fight each other 100 times and the result would be the same every time. It'd probably get quicker and quicker. Usyk he's just better in every sort of department. So, and this was a Usyk who was motivated. He wanted to put on a show. He wanted to push the pace. He could have won that fight in 9 or 10 rounds and not really used any energy. But he thought, no, I'm just going to turn the heat up from the first bell, just cranked it up. And Dubois can't. He's never fought at that pace. He's never done it. He's never done it in sparring. Never done it in his amateur fights. He couldn't throw that many punches. He just burnt him out, and then that was it. It was just Usyk's too tuned up to that rhythm, the rhythm of greatness. That Dubois, you wouldn't. Maybe I thought Dubois had a chance because Usyk was getting older, and I didn't know he had those gears. I didn't know he still had that same thing he had in the cruiserweights, where it was just the whole time. But he's still there. He seems to be. He's aging like a fine wine. He's getting better and better.
Absolutely. Can Parker do anything with him?
Pardon?
Can Joseph Parker, do anything with him?
It'll be tough, very tough. Parker will have to fight in a very different way than he currently fights. How he's been fighting recently has been amazing. The people who've beat Zhang and Wilder. He's really fights that people didn't really give him a shot, and he's been taking those taking those fights and winning them, but he's winning them with the other guys kind of coming at him, and he's kind of outboxing. He's using his boxing skills to win those fights. But this guy's just the best boxer. So he'd have to become a fighter and implement tactics he doesn't usually implement to have the best chance of winning. But anything's possible. It's been a stage where Joseph Parker, after the Joe Joyce defeat, I remember thinking, "Oh, that's it. It'll never be the same again." I thought that was such a beating. No one can take that type of punishment and come back, and he has. Had a few 5 fights off the grid and comes back, and that's it. Just has some amazing back-to-back performances, and good coach Adlay really keeps him exactly where he needs to be. So I'm sure if that fight gets made, Parker and his team know what the score is. They'll bring the best game plan they can.
Okay, well, listen, I do appreciate your time.
No problem.
Do you know what though? Like, we go to some of these press conferences, like we were spoilt years ago. When you was doing like really fucking off-key, weird, fucking crazy shit.
The good old days.
The good old days, the days, oi, your mum, right?
It's not as classy as it used to be, is it? We used to class it right up.
And then when you give it to Hearn in that first belly presser, or was that the rematch presser? I can't remember.
The first one. That was the first one. Yeah. Set the tone from the start. So you got to set the tone, get everyone fired up.
All right, yeah. Well, listen, they were the good old days. I don't know if them days will ever be recreated again, but we can hope and pray.
We'll see. Yeah, there will be. There'll be some of a nutter somewhere.
David, have you got anything else you'd like to add before we conclude?
I bid you a great day. Thanks to Haye, always representing, putting it all together.
Yeah, check the link out in our description for Haye, and give it a go.
Okay, I'll catch you later, mate.
David, thank you very much for your time.
Only on the Zone, August 16th, Moses Itauma, the next heavyweight superstar, faces his greatest challenge, Whyte, back to remind the world he's not done yet. Itauma versus Whyte. Click the link in the description to buy now.